Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus AEW Dark Elevation, your Monday night thing. It was the third show, and what was odd was when I looked online, because I like to have the matches next to me. That way, if I miss somebody's name or something like that, I can just refer to it. And on this thing, they had 13 matches, but it was 14 matches. I just thought that was really strange that they missed an entire match on their pre-list. How was this show? This show is shaping up really nicely. They're kind of figuring out their groove. I really like the features that they do on sort of up-and-coming unknown talent, or just people that aren't like the big timers. I think it's really nice. I think they do a really great job with it. There were a number of things advanced. There was a nice mix of matches that you could generously call competitive. I mean, there wasn't a match here that surprised me with the result, but there were a couple of matches that I thought, okay, this is a match between two people of relatively comparable status, so that's nice to see. Either way, whether it's what they call a squash or enhancement match, or I call a foregone conclusion match, or a match that's a little more competitive in nature, I grade them both on a 3-check scale. And Elevation has yet to have 3 checks go throughout, though this one may be one. I'm trying to remember back. I don't remember there being a match that I was grossly against or didn't like. So there's a chance they could pull off the 3 checks. What are the 3 checks for? For enhancement matches or jobber matches or foregone conclusion matches, it is 1 check for the proper person being put over in a memorable and definitive way. It is a 2nd check if that person or people look good in the process. And then a 3rd check if the enhancement talent, the person who is losing, looks really good in the process or is given an inordinately large amount of offense by the person who is beating them. There were a number of great promo segments in this thing as well. I like that they're giving guys who I honestly don't think are very good promos a chance to do it again, and obviously giving them some notes so there were improvements made. Again, all really cool stuff to see. For competitive matches, 3 check marks, 1 check mark if both people or entities look good in the match. A 2nd check mark if a winner emerges and wins in sort of a clear-cut fashion. And then a 3rd check mark if something is advanced that enhances the character or an angle that could possibly take place on Dynamite. In other words, something needs to be enhanced or discovered. All right, let's get into this bad boy. And I usually pick an enhancement talent of the week. And I definitely have one, and he was a first-timer, too, so impressive. We open the show with a Moxley promo talking about how he's beat up, but he's still going to do his thing. Really great start. It's cool that they have Moxley on here, even in just show number 3. By the way, show number 1 got 1 million hits on YouTube, which for AEW is huge. The 2nd show is right around the 400,000 mark, still way head and shoulders above what Dark on Tuesday night gets. So they're doing something right. Most definitely. And by the quality of this show, I would imagine that they're going to hold steady or even gain a little bit, because the shows are definitely worth watching. If you are already like a kind of a devoted AEW fan, this fits nicely in. Whereas Dark is honestly something that you can skip 9 times out of 10. Definitely with Elevation, they seem to be going for something a little bit more. Match number 1, Ryan Nemeth, the Hollywood hunk, as they're calling him, and JD Drake, who they sort of paired him up with. JD Drake, who seems on the road to getting signed, most definitely, against Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor come out to Where's My Mind by the Pixies. The Pixies, arguably my favorite band of all time. So, of course, I'm ecstatic. I'm over the moon. The match is a very good one. J.D. Drake and Ryan Nemeth certainly do a good job, especially J.D. Drake. And at the end of the day, it's the Beach Break by Orange Cassidy getting the pinfall. Afterwards, Miro and Kip cut a promo standing kind of in the aisleway or in the ramp, we're going to see you on Dynamite after running them down a little bit, and then they leave. Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor start to leave as well, but then Miro and Kip jump them brutal, good. Put a little heat on it because in Dynamite on Wednesday night, they have a big deal going on, right? They're having the arcade match where they're going to have video games around that they're going to bash each other's head in. Silly, stupid, but at least they're putting some heat on that match. Ain't mad at it. And it's a great way to use Elevation, and it's a great way to open Elevation. They run down the card, or at least the high points of the card, and then we go into match 2. Bill Collier against Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley's a pro, gives Bill Collier his moments. Oh, by the way, the first match, 3 check marks. Just a really good job by JD Drake and Ryan Nemeth. This match, Moxley gives him his moments, but at the end of the day, Moxley hits him with that pile driver, goes for the cover. Bill Collier manages to kick out, but that just transitions into Jon Moxley's bulldog choke, and he gets the win. Nicely done, 3 check marks, no problems with this one. Cody does a segment where he, apparently it was filmed earlier, but he brings out a nightmare belt to a kid from the Boys and Girls Club, which is a relationship that I guess AEW has, which is really nice. And Cody, this is a kind of a cool tradition where Cody gives a weightlifting belt, the nightmare belt they call it, to a kid. I think it's very sweet and really nice, and again, just a really nice gesture from by all accounts is a really great guy. I really like that they did this. On Dynamite, it would be a little much if they took up that incredibly valuable time that they have to really showcase their league. But here on Elevation, it seems like a perfect time to do it to me. Match number 3 is Layla Gray and Penelope Ford. Penelope Ford's still on the endless quest for the finisher, right? But no fisherman suplex this time, and no springboard cutter, thank God. But she does this kind of double knee gutbuster thing that I think works really well. Now, but she's not the most powerful, so she's not going to be able to get up larger women in this thing. Or is she? I don't know. Maybe someday we'll find out. A decent match. Layla Gray does pretty decent work, and Penelope Ford is slowly getting better and improving with each match. Not a super upper echelon talent yet, but definitely someone who is in the mix and could have a match with anybody. So good job, Penelope. Good job, Layla. 3 check marks. Moving on. Rex Lawless and Milk Chocolate, the tag team. Milk Chocolate. They announced this as a trios match. They don't say a 6-person tag or anything like that. They call it a trios match, which further lends to the theory that eventually they're going to have a title for these 3 versus 3 matches. Which, I mean, I'm not a fan of just more and more titles, but I wouldn't be adverse to it. My God, their roster's certainly big enough. And speaking of trios, the Gunn Club teaming yet again. Billy Gunn and his sons, Colton and Austin. They totally botched the 310 to Yuma. It's like a backdrop into a neck breaker, and it's a mess. Big Show can't finish a cliche or trite saying correctly all night long, and Tony Schiavone calls a number of moves wrong. It was pretty sloppy on the commentary end. They've been doing really good, and they have an undeniable chemistry, but I gotta call it when I see it. And the commentary tonight was driving me nuts. I was afraid every time Big Show would bring up a cliche and botch it, and I was afraid every time Tony would call every single move a cutter, even when it wasn't. That was a little... It reminded me of Vince McMahon when he was doing commentary, where he would just call anything that he didn't know, oh, what a maneuver. Tony Schiavone apparently calls anything where 2 people are falling down at the same time a cutter. Eesh. Good interview with Thunder Rosa with Alex Marvez. I mean, when you have these kind of promos where they don't really script what they're going to say and they just kind of go for it, stuff isn't always going to work. And there are parts of the Thunder Rosa promo that were really choppy. But at the end, I love this thing where I'm representing Latinas, blah, blah, blah. Diamante comes out and confronts her, and we set up for a match between the 2 of them at a later date. Nothing bad to say about it. It was really cool. And Joey Janela in our 5th match against Chandler Hopkins. Chandler Hopkins is the standout this week. Really good. I'm going to find this dude on social media. I thought he just did a stellar frickin' job. Joey Janela out there with Sunny Kiss. Always good look. He wins with a top rope elbow, but Chandler Hopkins, Joey Janela clearly wanted Chandler to shine and gave him a lot here. 3 check marks, and congratulations to Chandler. You really did yourself a favor. I'm sure you will be booked again. Now we have an interview featuring Dasha talking to, at first, Angelico, but then talking to Jack Evans. This promo sucked. God damn it, Jack Evans. You've been around forever and a day. It's got to be better. But at least he hit a couple of jokes there at the end. And Angelico dancing to music that only he could hear in his head. Oh, guys, you're wasting this promo time. It's such an opportunity to stand out and be great. And they really need to take that seriously and do it. 6th match, Alex Garcia against Thunder Rosa. Really good outing. Alex Garcia has done really good work in the past. This is no exception. Thunder Rosa, of course, looks fantastic, wins with the Thunderfire driver. There's really not a lot to say. Alex Gracia, does a fantastic job, and Thunder Rosa is a great opponent. 3 check marks. They have the Double or Nothing commercial with Kenny Omega walking through the casino and a bunch of stuff happening, which is good. They're already showing the things because the pay-per-view isn't until the end of May, and I've already booked my hotel room. I'm going to be there, I believe, for the next AEW pay-per-view, which is great. Match number 7, Layla Hirsch, newly signed, little Russian death midget against Viperous. And Layla Hirsch, this is the best she's looked. This is the smoothest she's looked. The triple German suplexes looked great. Her armbar looked great. This was the best outing that she's had. Obviously, she has a confidence now where she's not fighting to get the job. She's doing her job, and it's fantastic. Great job. 3 check marks. They have a commercial for Wrestling with the Week, which I always find really odd because it's the commercial they've been running for months. And now that Scorpio Sky is heel, it just seems a really strange juxtaposition of seeing him be all friendly and sweetness and light here when they've transitioned him into being this sort of ruthless heel. But again, that's a quibble point. Some people would go like, oh, that doesn't apply in the modern day. I fucking agree. I figure, play the role as much as you can in the context of a show, especially. Match number 8, Danny Limelight against Frankie Kazarian. What can I say? Frankie Kazarian's fucking great. If I was still wrestling, one of the 3 guys I would really love to work a match with is Frankie Kazarian because everything he does is very effective and would be very easy to sell. And he puts in that work. Everything he does is really smooth. And I like that he's using this sort of like cross face, but it's really more of a choke with the chicken wing simultaneously. It looks great, and he gets the win, and it's awesome. And then Christian Cage kind of confronts Frankie, kind of makes his presence felt because they're going to have a match on Dynamite. This is a great use of elevation, of setting up things, of reminding you, hey, on Dynamite, this other thing is going to happen. I really like it. Match number 7, Fuego del Sol against All Ego Ethan Page. The match that you would expect to have. Fuego gets a little bit of offense, tries to go for that tornado DDT, fails miserably, and then gets hit by Razor's Edge. I think the Razor's Edge for Ethan Page is a perfectly passable finisher, and he should stick to it. Please do. 3 check marks. Nothing really special to talk about except Ethan Page finally looks comfortable, and that's good. Match number 8. This is the kind of match that I would love to see on Dark and or Elevation more, where you kind of team up different baby faces just because. And Tay Conti and Hikaru Shida, it's really cool. The Dark Order come out and have their presence felt, but then they leave, leaving Tay Conti to look really good in this match. She's doing a stellar job working with these women. And Tesha Price and Jasmine Allure are kind of newer wrestlers, but they really do some good stuff. They make Tay Conti look great. They're there for everything they need to be there for. And Tay Conti wins with that brutal hammerlock DDT that she put Nyla Rose down with. And Hikaru Shida, again, very giving. This wasn't about Shida showing off at all. She's the champ, right? And so she's definitely letting all these other women shine. And I love it, and it's 3 check marks. No prob, Bob. And it's great to see a female presence on these shows because that's something that AEW once got derided 4 months ago, and now there's clearly a big presence. Number 9, this is a close to a competitive match, so we'll grade it that way. Jungle Boy and Jack Evans, even though I know Jungle Boy is going to win this thing, and he does with the snare trap, it is a really good competitive match. So let's go over the 3 checkmark assessments, right? Was this a good match where both looked good? Absolutely. Was this a match where Jungle Boy won in a definitive fashion that we would remember? Absolutely, with his finisher. That's great, right? And then finally, a third check mark for was there something advanced? Yes, there was this notion of TH2 still having some kind of beef with Jurassic Express, of which Jungle Boy is a member. So great job, great job, great job. Match number 10. And so far, it's 3 check marks all the way around, isn't it? Adam Priest and Aaron Fry against Lee Johnson and QT Marshall. Perfectly serviceable match. Nothing really memorable except QT definitely looked edgier and more brutal. And they talked a lot about the match he has coming up with Cody, which they keep presenting as an exhibition. But you get the distinct feeling that QT is going to not treat it that way. Holy shit, was that a high back body drop by Drew Galloway on poor Ricochet. I have Raw playing as I'm doing this. Yes, I do cover both shows at once and do a million other things. It's what I do. QT wins with the cutter, 3 check marks. This match, which I'll call a competitive one, I think Kylan King has earned that, against Ryo Mizunami. I knew who was going to win, and it was Ryo, and I still think that some of the routines that Ryo does to just seem out of place in the match and make her opponent look really stupid. There's got to be a way for her to get that stuff in without her opponent having to just basically buy time while she pulls on an invisible rope mime style. I love those kind of things. I don't mind them. I hate when it makes the opponent look bad in the process. But Ryo wins with the top rope leg drop. Kylan King just does a really great job with her here. And looks every part her equal. Do they both look good? Yes, that's a check mark. Did Ryo win in convincing fashion? Absolutely. And then finally, was something advanced? Yes. I think there's this idea that Ryo is going to stick around, which is a bit of a surprise. And they certainly did it by letting her get the win on Kylan. And so, yes, 3 check marks. And we still got 3 check marks. 5 and 10 against D3 and Very Morales. This one was a lot faster than I thought it would be. Very looks good, and D3 taps out to the full Nelson by 10. I think this was a really good showing. 3 check marks, by the way. A really good showing for 10. Clearly, 10 is going to get a bit of a push here, and we're having him win with this full Nelson finisher, which is very unique in AEW, so he should stick with it. We get Dasha interviewing Ethan Page, and his promo this week is a lot better than it was last time. Lot better. Nothing of significance is really said. He just looks very comfortable speaking. And then we get this package on Bear Country, which reminds me, I need to tell the guy that did that video package how much I fucking enjoyed it. And I'm going to do it right now before I forget. So forgive me for delaying a little bit. I know this report's a little bit longer, but this was a long elevation. And they're really doing a great job. They're really doing the justice and giving the show this own flavor. More than one person has asked me, what's the point? Bear Country segment, spell it correctly, Steve, was really well done. Kudos. Yeah. Really great. Okay, I feel better now that I got that errand done, and I mean it. And Bear Country piece is really nice. It wasn't as layered as the Red Velvet piece or the Lee Johnson piece, but I thought it still served its purpose. I loved Bear Country talking about their tag team influences and how once they realized AEW was going to have the best tag division that they had to get over here. I thought that was really good. And it made AEW look really good in the process. Match number 13. Bear Country against Private Party. Private Party wins with a roll-up at the end, and this is a competitive match. Did both teams look good? Kind of. Was Private Party put over in a definitive way? Not really. Not in a convincing way. Was something advanced? Yes. I would say it was advanced, this notion that, they're kind of under Matt Hardy's influence, and so they'll kind of play a little dirty to win. I mean, it was just a roll up with a tights grab, which I would not call an impressive win because it didn't get heat. If you're going to do a finish like that and I just don't feel the heat off of it, I don't feel like anything's advanced, I'm not going to give you that check mark. So they get the first and third check mark, but not the second, so we break the streak. So we still have an elevation that did not 3 check mark all the way through. At the end, though, we get a thing where other people get involved, and then Bear Country kind of blame Marco Stunt, who is at ringside, for distracting them, even though that doesn't make complete sense. And as they try to waylay him, Jurassic Express come, and we have a bit of a dust-up and a bit of a confrontation, setting up things in the future. And then finally, in our de facto main event, which is I'll call a competitive match as well, we have Mike Sydal in his first singles match in AEW against Scorpio Sky. Great match, really great work. 3 check marks all around, by the way. And the thing that we advance is Scorpio Sky locks in that leg lock and he won't let go even after he's won the match, which causes a confrontation with Matt Sydal. And just when you thought that that was it, that's certainly enough because we're setting up Matt Sydal and Scorpio Sky. Ethan Page runs over Matt Sydal, and that's how we leave the show. Great show. I would say the most entertaining show that we have done for Elevation. The most complete show yet, though it was very long. Mein Gott.